Hello guys, let me get this all situated. Hey, this is G2 again with Caldwell Banker. I'm a real estate agent here in Phoenix, Arizona. And yep, I'm a little frustrated. So, TRID, the Tiller-RESPA Integrated Disclosure. Thanks for coming in, Black Magic. If you are a person looking to buy a home, or you know somebody that's looking to buy a home, or hello, Rooney, thanks for joining. Anywhere in the United States, this is relative to the United States. Laws that were passed in 2010 have morphed into rules that have gone into effect as of yesterday, 3 October, and these rules are termed, the term is TRID. Hello, I like Mal Simmet. I love it. Anyway, the reason I'm doing this scope, if I'm a little tongue-tied, it's because I'm becoming a little frustrated. My industry, I've been doing this for nearly 30 years. My wife and I are 3 decades in this industry. We're real estate agents. I'm the state director for, hello Pablo Calmo. I'm the state director for the Arizona Association, for the Veterans Association of Real Estate Professionals. I'm just a little flustered right now. And I'm also the director of government affairs. But why I'm frustrated and why I want to do this scope is I'm hoping if you'll share this with your friends and family that are looking to buy a home in the United States. The way that real estate transactions have been disclosed, hello Gigi, has forever changed. As of yesterday, the disclosure scenario is completely new. Everything that used to be done, some of that's still done, but new stuff is being done. New forms exist today that didn't exist the day before yesterday. Forms that existed, that we use in the industry, that existed the day before yesterday, no longer exist for most of the transactions. There's a protocol that might allow some of those forms to, and some of the procedures to actually morph through this transition period, but I got to tell you, real estate is being done differently today. And it's for the consumer's benefit. It is more and more disclosures, more and more ability for the buyer and the seller to have confidence that the transaction is going to complete in a manner that is consistent with fair play to both sides, and certainly fair play to the buyer. Which, truth be told, a lot of the reason that we're in the mess that we're in right now, trying to dig ourselves out, is because bad people on Wall Street did bad things and never got held accountable for it. Matter of fact, they ran away with billions of dollars in their pockets while the American public suffered losing their 401k. Anyway, that's another story. I'm digressing. I'm really ticked right now because one of the things that I keep on running into is real estate agents who haven't a clue about TRID, the Tiller-RESPA Integrated Disclosure. This isn't new. It's okay. So I'll calm down. I'm a little animated right now, but I'm really frustrated. I'm working a transaction right now. Nice young lady on the other side. Nice young lady, good realtor, I'm sure, but she doesn't understand TRID. What has happened is that timelines for the transaction here in the West Coast, in Arizona, California, New Mexico, in the Sand States, our typical turn time on a transaction from the day the buyer and seller agreed to do the transaction, to do the deal, to the day the buyer actually owned the home and the seller no longer owned the home, typically that ran between 30 and 40 days, 45 on the hour. Well, now with the new TRID rules in play, timeline requirements, because of additional disclosures to consumers, to the buyer, are going to expand. And we're seeing that timeline be adopted in various formats We've heard of lenders and title companies expressing a concern that a transaction might be normally a 45-day. We used to say that 30 days was a normal transaction. Today, the title companies and lenders are predicting are about 45 days for a normal transaction. Hello, Sparky. However, they're also suggesting that it may well morph into something like 60 days. So we as practitioners have to prepare both the buyer and the seller to expect these new protracted timelines. How much for a home? It depends, Zofun. You can buy homes here in the West Valley for, my gosh, as little as $50,000 if you're in a condo. You can go out to Paradise Valley and buy them in the millions. So broad spectrum. But the point being that real estate practitioners across the country need to get their arms around the fact that TRID is here, the timelines are going to be different, and you need to understand that, and you need to be competent enough to tell your buyer and your seller, hey, there's a new game in town. The way disclosures used to take place is no longer taking place. Disclosures are set up now to help you, the buyer and the seller, understand that the transaction is being played on a very fair and even playing field. Lenders can no longer take advantage of the situations. There are a host of rules that have been put in place to protect consumers from lenders who changed the game at the 11th hour. You know, what happened back in 05, 6, 7, 8, when buyers signed up for a transaction, they agreed to do the deal, they signed up with their lender, they went to the title company ready to sign, they'd been told that they were going to get a 7% rate, and when they showed up, the lender said, oh, just kidding, it's really 8 or 8.5 or 9. Or the conditions that we set up for your loan are different than, oh, by the way, I understand you've got a moving van parked outside and your kids are in it and you need to move into your house. Well, you can't do that unless you accept the deal that I got on the table right now, which, by the way, is different than what I told you when you first started. So all of that took place has been put under control, under wraps, if you will. And that's TRID. TRID is now protecting consumers from that kind of skullduggery. What's really, really getting my goat is the fact that real estate agents that I interact with on a regular basis don't get it. They don't understand that you need to be able to explain to your sellers, to your buyers, that there is a new process of how we do real estate transactions here in the Valley and across the United States. I sat in on a session a couple of weeks ago and was listening to some New York real estate agents and attorneys talk about their normal course of business on the East Coast. When you wrap in an attorney, they run a closing upwards of 60 to 70 to 90 days. So it's not unusual for that kind of timeline, but when you put attorneys in there, I mean, I can imagine how that really tangles things up. Here on the West Coast, we don't use attorneys. We rely on real estate agents. And by the way, here in Arizona is the only state in the union that actually licenses real estate agents to conduct the limited practice of contract laws, as long as the aspect of law is concerning the transaction of a real estate product. Then real estate agents are actually licensed to write contracts. We could write a contract on a napkin, take it to court, and it'd be just fine. But we're the only state in the union that offers that kind of flexibility to real estate agents. But back to the point of TRID. The TILA RESPA Integrated Disclosure TRID. That is the animal that will forever govern real estate transactions from here forward. And if you're a buyer of a home, if you're a seller of a home, if you're a real estate agent, a lender, a title company, anybody that touches the real estate transactions, get yourself together and start explaining to consumers that timelines are different than they were a day and a half ago. Something just popped up on my screen. So, again, I really wanted to just vent a little bit because I'm dealing with a transaction right now. We've got multiple offers. Our buyer is one of the multiple buyers, and the agent sent me back a text that said, well, my seller's a little concerned about the 45 to 50 day closing time frame in your transaction. Hello, Ron. What I tried to explain to the agent is that the timeline is consistent with TRID expectations. And truth be told, I mean, it's only, 48 hours new. Nobody's closed a transaction under TRID yet. Our industry is simply looking at the requirements set out by the new rule, and as you go through the rule, and the rule specifies and stipulates timelines for each kind of disclosure, when you add that and factor that into the way transactions have been handled before, it really doesn't spell out the ability to close a transaction in 30 days. It just doesn't. So, okay, so I'm going to calm down right now because I'm going to go change out some lock boxes, but I'll be back later on, and I'm going to go into this a little more. In the meantime, if you are watching this broadcast, and because only if you're watching this broadcast could you do what I'm going to tell you to do or ask you to do, share this with your family and friends. Share it on Twitter. Share it on Facebook. You can also go to my Periscope website. Periscope set up a website for all Periscope people that have a membership on Periscope, and mine would be periscope.tv/G2 Realtor. Hello, Meg Periobi. Meg Periobi, by the way, you sound like a doctor. And young lady, if you are going to buy a home, you want to be very aware of the new rules about buying homes. Anything that your friends or family or parents ever experienced before yesterday doesn't exist. It got changed. Got changed by the Dodd-Frank Act that was passed in 2010. So go back and watch the replay of this scope, and then forward it to your friends and family, because the way real estate transactions are handled today is completely different than the way they were handled before yesterday, in terms of disclosures and timelines for buyers, which also translates into sellers, because they're obviously impacted by these. So again, I'm G2 with Caldwell Banker Residential Brokerage. I'm also the Arizona State Director for the Veterans Association of Real Estate Professionals, and I am the Director of Government Affairs for the Phoenix chapter of VA Rep. My wife and I have been in this industry for nearly 3 decades. I jumped on Scope this afternoon just because I've run into this problem over and over and over again. It keeps on happening, and I wanted to get this message out. I'll be back with more about TRID in a little bit. I got to go change out some lock boxes. Thanks for checking in. You guys have a great day. Have a great weekend. See you soon.